Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, the Droodles Blitz, and here we are in Reforged version 2. Wargaming has definitely cleaned up some of the issues with the first version of Reforged. The graphics are better. There were issues with the post-processing effects that no longer exist, which is good. The game does run smoother. However, there are still problems with the games, and I'll show you that, right? I said this in the past. I'm using an RTX 4090. I have a 7950X 3D. I have a water-cooled computer. The game should not be dropping any frames. And on certain maps like Castilla and Alpenstadt, I'm only running at about 100 to 115 FPS. The game should be running at a smooth 165 FPS. And I will continue saying that until it does. Blitz should not be struggling to run at 165 FPS. It's a mobile game. I shouldn't have to say this. It's better. I will give Wargaming credit. It is definitely running better. And if they continue to improve the graphics and technical limitations of the game in the future, then I will continue to be happier and happier when it comes to that percent of Reforged. I will say that the actual gameplay of Reforged is good. It is very good. It plays just like our current Blitz. There are still some things here and there that I would make better. For example, the shells are still a little delayed from when you press the fire button. I don't like the aiming time. I think it's too quick. Aiming time is not the same in our version of Blitz and Reforged. Like, I drove the T-34-3, and it has a quick aiming time, but it was way quicker than it should have been in Reforged. So that's some stuff I should talk about there. Now, during my live stream today, I actually had a Wargaming dev, Alex, come into the game chat. And I appreciate Alex for coming. If there's any other Wargaming devs that are watching today's video, if Thane ends up watching today's video, who is the lead dev, listen, I'd love to have a sit down, a live stream, talk about my opinions and how I feel about the game versus how you guys feel about the game, right? I had this whole conversation with the Wargaming employee for maybe about 30-ish minutes in stream chat. And I kind of understood what he was saying, but I disagree with the way Wargaming is taking this approach. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay? We're going to be talking about my opinions on Reforged, the sets, what I would change as a player who has played this game for 10 years. I'm not against change, right? A lot of people at Wargaming probably say, oh, you're just against change. I'm not against change. I'm against the change that Wargaming is doing in certain directions. Let's start off with sets, okay? If we make our way over to the tech tree, we can see the current tech tree in Blitz. All right, this is the Reforged sets. Okay, let's look at the Chinese tree, for example. I think personally the Chinese tree is the most intuitive of the nations that Wargaming has put into the game. Because if we go to our current version of Blitz, we can see it's very similar, right? If we go over to the trees and we go over to China, you'll notice 131 GFT goes to the 113 GFT. Type 58 goes to the BZ75. IS2 goes to the 113, T34-1 goes to the 121, and 5916 goes to the 132-1. Okay, now we click on Reforged. So we pull up Reforged. It's similar, right? T34 goes to the 121, makes sense. 5916 goes to the 132-1, makes sense. IS2 to the 113, makes sense. BZ58 goes to the BZ75, makes sense. 131 GFT goes to the 113 GFT. This here is perfect. This is how sets should be organized in Reforged. I have no problems at all with the Chinese tree whatsoever. The problems I have are when we make it to the other nations. For example, if we go to France, this nation has a lot more confusing things that don't make sense, okay? Starting off, right, the SAU-40 goes all the way to the Foch. That's perfect. Why is the AMX M445 not just combined with the AMX 5100? Now, I asked this question, and the Wargaming employee replied, because the AMX M445, the ARL, the BDR G1B are not autoloaders. And I understand that from a technical perspective. You're saying the players that are grinding these 4 tanks do not have the same experience as the players playing in these 3 tanks. And I understand that. But at the same time, the problem that you're doing here is you're taking something that was previously 1 and you're splitting it into 2. And this creates 2 problems. First of all, it's confusing, right? Why would anybody want to just play to a tier 7? Nobody's ever going to grind this. They're just going to ignore this and are going to go straight to the AMX. Why would you ever want to go for these 4 tanks here that stop at tier 7? When I'm a new player, the first thing I'm trying to do is get the highest tier thing. That's every single game that everybody plays. I was a noob when I first started. The first thing I did was I tried grinding the highest tier possible as quickly as I could. And that's what every new player is going to do. So they're going to completely ignore these 4 tanks. They're going to go straight to the AMX. And yes, I know that you can't do that immediately, but still, if you gave me the option of grinding these 4 or grinding the AMX 5100, 5120, and 50B, I'm going for the 50B immediately. I'm ignoring that whole set of tanks. Second of all, what you've done is you've put keys into the game, right? If I want to play this set of 4 vehicles, I have to use keys. If I want to play this set of 3 vehicles, I have to use keys. So you've taken something that previously would have been one unlock, and you've made it 2 separate unlocks of keys. Therefore, players have to spend more time grinding if they want to unlock both of these sets for free, or if you have the alternative option, which is spending money, you're now forcing players to spend more money to unlock 2 separate sets instead of just having one set like this Foch. It's poor game design. You need to make it so this set is just combined with the AMX. And if you want to make the argument, well, the AMX isn't an autoloader, the ARL isn't an autoloader, then give them autoloading guns. Give the AMX M4 2-gun options. Give it a single shot and give it like a 3-shot 200 alpha gun. Give the ARL 44 a double shot 180 alpha gun, right? You don't have to just ignore the fact that like you can make these autoloaders. It's a lot easier to do that than it is to have 2 separate sets, right? Same thing for the AMX ELC. I don't even understand this one. Why does the AMX 12T and 1375 not combine to the AMX 1390 Bosch Ation 25-ton AP and the Bosch Ation 25-ton? That doesn't make sense. These are all, the only tank that's not an autoloader is the AMX ELC BIS. The AMX 12T and 1375 are both autoloaders. These are all autoloaders. There's no argument to be made there. This 3 set of vehicles should be combined into this 3 set. It should start at the AMX ELC BIS and go straight to the Bosch Ation 25-ton. This is fine. I don't mind the AMX 13M24 being its own set. That's completely fine. Maybe what you should also do is make a tier 6 version of the AMX 13 that is also a double shot that can go here. That way you have a tier 6, to tier 10, and it would be a little bit easier to understand. But that I have no problem with. But these 2 splits here, they don't need to happen. Combine them. Make it like the Foch line, right? Make it like the Foch. You go over to Russia, it's more splits, right? So you have the SU-85 goes right to the 268. That's great. SU-100M1 goes to the 263. Okay, maybe you should make a tier 6 that goes along this line, but that's fine. But then we have the IS, which goes to the IS-7. Why are we doing that? I don't understand that, okay? See the KV-1S here? Why is this here? KV-1S should be at the IS, okay? And then the KV-1 should be here. Why is it T28 Mod 1, KV-1, KV-2? Doesn't make sense. KV-1 should go over here with the IS, all right? The KV-1S should go with the IS. You might say, okay, well, what about the KV-3? Put the T-150 and the KV-2 here. Then you can just put the T-28 as a collector tank. Remove it. Nobody needs it. Or you can just throw it on the IS or whatever line. Again, you have tanks here in a useless set. Remove this set. Put these tanks. Put the KV-2 in the place of the KV-1S. Put the KV-1S in the place of the IS. Super simple. This here, A20, T-34, T-34, 85, T-43, why does that not go right to the T-44? Why does the KV-13 go here? That doesn't make sense at all. The T-44 should go right there. T-54 should go right there. T-62A should go right there. Object 140 should be right next to it. LTTB, bro, what is this? One single tank? What? That doesn't even make sense. That literally doesn't make sense. The LTTB should be right here with the LTG, just like it is in Blitz, as 2 options. That makes no sense. I don't agree with that at all. And this is fine, right? The MT25 going right to the T100, that's fine. Add the LTTB there, and you're fine. But again, you've made these splits here that don't make sense. You've made these splits that don't make sense, okay? Go over to Germany, it's the same thing, right? Germany here, the Hetzer goes to the Jagdpanther 2. Why does it not continue to the Jagdtiger and Jagdpanzer E100? Why does this have to be 3 separate tanks? Again, you might say, oh, well, the Ferdinand, Jagdtiger, and Jagdpanzer have armor, which the Jagdpanther 2 and Jagdpanther don't. Wrong. The Jagdpanther has really good upper plate armor, and the Jagdpanther 2 has stupid strong superstructure. Make it just like Blitz, where you have the option of the Jagdpanther or the Ferdinand right here, and then have the Jagdtiger and Jagdpanzer E100 come after it. Instead, you've split them off again. Panzer 40 goes to the Tiger P. Okay, that's fine. Why does the Tiger P not then go to the VK4502A, VK4502B, and VK72? Look at this. You've made it so much more confusing here when it could be a lot more simple. Have the Tiger P grind into both the VK4502A and the VK100 Motion and Mouse. If you want these to have their own separate lines, then you need to make it so that they grind like this. But the Tiger P and VK4502A play similar. So I don't even understand that. Put this right there. And if you want the mouse to have its own little line, then make a tier 7 and 6 super heavy that goes along this set. VK36 goes to the E100, that's fine. That's completely fine. This goes to the E50M, that's fine. VK3002 goes to Leopard. Oh, actually, I don't know why. The VK3002M should go to the E50M, and then the VK3001... Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. Wargaming, explain that to me. Why does the 3001D go to the Panther, even though the 3002D goes to the Leopard? That doesn't make sense at all. Sometimes you really confuse me as a company, and this is very confusing. 3001D should be here. VK3002M should be here. Rheinmetall Panzerwagen? Perfect. Look at this. Goes right to the tier 10. Some of them are fine, but some of them need to be fixed. That's what I'll say. I don't like the way that you've completely split them up. Also, your game's kind of buggy when I try to change nations. Again, like this here, it's a little confusing. Why does the M6 not go to the T29, to the T32, to the M103, to the E5? M6 show is fine, right? You can have the M6 show and kind of leave it like that. That's fine. But like this, Easy 8, make the Easy 8 go straight to the T20 Pershing M48 Patton. The 2 tanks in this tree. Now, I get it, right? It's part of a set. But like, bruh, it just doesn't make sense. You've designed the game based off of sets rather than tech trees. And what that's done is it's made it very confusing for players that are used to the tech trees. Because, for example, this set doesn't just go T69, T54A1, T57 heavy. It actually has more tanks in it. It has a K91, it has an Astron, it has a T77. And you can put on the premium tank selection, but I'm going to be honest, guys, Wargaming, this premium tank is awful right now. This looks awful. This is too much scrolling. It's too confusing. If you want my opinion, if you want to do the premium tanks, put them below, okay? So you have the T14s here and the T1 heavies here. Put the T14 below the T1 heavy. That way you can squish them down so I don't have to scroll like this, right? TL7120, AE Phase 1, put them below the M103, okay? That way you don't have to like have it stretched out like an extended slinky. I don't like that at all. That's how I do it. Or I do it like the current Blitz where you have the premium tanks above over here. That's what I do. At the end of the day, the problem with me is that they're more confusing, okay? And I understand that if you're saying we asked a bunch of nobodies that have never played the game what's more, what makes sense to them, but show me that then. Show me proof that you analyzed, 1,000, 2,000 people, had them share their opinions on what made more sense to them, sets or tech trees, right? And explain them. Say, this is how tech trees work. You start at tier 1, you go to the tier 10. Explain, this is how sets work. That needs to be more explained, okay? Then you arrive to sets. And sets are the big part, right? Here we have all the sets, okay? Here's my problem with sets. And the problem is that you don't have names for the sets. That makes sense. Lethal Frostbite? What about the 268 looks like Frostbite, bruh? Name it Soviet Tank Destroyers. The 60 TP set? Name it Polish Heavies. That's what you gotta do. Polish hard-hitting heavies. Polish super heavies, right? You don't need to name it these really goofy names because the problem is it's no longer, hey, are you grinding the 60 TP line? It's, hey, are you grinding Warhogs? Nobody's gonna know what the hell you're talking about. Especially players that have... Sure, if you have newer players that get used to this, then it makes sense. But, like, for the older players, you're just screwing us over. My stream today on Reforged had 500 viewers. My first stream on Reforged was 1,500. That was Reforged V1. That means that Wargaming, you have lost 66% of your player base due to these changes. That's how much you've lost. And by the way, even if you said, hey, we're fixing everything, I don't think you'll get them back. You've already damaged your reputation to a point where you're not getting most of those players back because they're probably done watching Blitz content. That's what you've accomplished with this so far. You have nobody to blame but yourselves, because instead of incorporating the fact that us as players who have been playing this game for the last 10 years still have feelings and still want to experience the similar Blitz that we've had, you've changed it, right? So here's what I would do. Here's my recommendation. I would remove, here's the two options. I would either remove this whole page here and just have tech trees and make it so the tech trees are sets, but make it so that the sets are more structured like the tech trees we already have. Okay? Second option you have is you can keep these, but you need to fix the names and you need to fix how they play. Okay? I would gladly, as a player who knows every single thing about this game like a freaking nerd, I would gladly sit down with Wargaming devs and spend my time to say every single thing on how I would structure it. And then you guys could show what is structured to the player base and say, hey, do you guys like this better? I would spend legit a lot of time doing this with you guys at Wargaming. I would love to work with you to make this game better, right? I'm not here to just crap on it, but I'm here to share my honest opinions because that's what you guys want. And I still don't like the way that these sets are fully structured. That's my honest opinion. I don't love it. I think that it looks like a cheap game. It looks like a tank company knockoff when it shouldn't be, okay? That's my viewpoint of it. I would also definitely turn down the music. The music's a little goofy. But that's my opinion, okay? I don't love the way tech trees are structured. If you, at Wargaming, would love me to divulge more into what exactly I'd want, call me. Hit me up on Discord anytime. Say, hey, I work for Wargaming. Thane, I don't know if you watch my videos. Contact me. I'm free any day of the week. There's no way you're busy 24/7. I'd love to sit down, have a couple conversations with you here and there, share my opinions, have you listen, have you give me some feedback on what you think I'm saying, and then explain to me why you think my opinions are wrong. If you can give me a reason, a rational reason that why I might be thinking wrong here, I would listen. But the problem is right now is it just doesn't make sense. You're making something, you're just reinventing the wheel in a very confusing way. You're closer. I like the addition of the tech tree. But now what you've done is you've made it very confusing for a newer player because they have all these sets here, and then they also have a tech tree. And like, what the heck are you looking at as a newer player? Now you have two different things that don't really make sense and don't combine. That doesn't make sense, right? The other thing that doesn't make sense, just get rid of this collections tab. Like, what is this? Get rid of this. Nobody knows what the heck they're looking at here. Nobody's going to memorize all these icons. Get rid of them. Just get rid of this whole page. It's too confusing. I don't like the addition of keys, right? I understand you as a company need to make money. Monetizing off of something that was previously free is not a good look for you, and it's seriously going to hurt your game if you go through with that. That's my honest opinion. I think putting keys onto the tech tree is stupid. That's how I feel, but I really think that's stupid. The other thing that I really don't like about what you guys are doing is you're monetizing commanders. It's already been posted in WotB News that you guys are going to be adding paid commanders that are exclusively paid for. You are also going to be adding commanders that are only able to be gotten through events during certain times. You are seriously going to be hurting your game if you follow through with that. I don't care if you say the commanders are balanced. If you are adding mechanics into the game that other players cannot get their hands on, you are simply ruining the game. That's what you're doing. Because especially in the competitive scene, you are saying, hey, look at this commander. It has something that these other tanks don't. You have to get this commander now if you want that advantage in comp. As I said, it could be a useless advantage. It could be this commander gives you a 5 kilometer per hour reverse buff. But that reverse buff could be crucial for a certain tank in a certain strat in a certain battle, and it could make the difference between winning and losing. Especially in comp. Again, this is competitive, right? You are having these commanders that you will most likely be allowed to use in comp that are worth, a winning team can win $30,000-$40,000, and you're saying, hey, if you don't spend money on these commanders and possibly gamble for them in loot boxes, which I guarantee at some point you guys will be doing, that's not a good idea. It really isn't. Commanders should be free. You make enough money as it is on other sources of monetization. We don't need to monetize the game even more on commanders. That's my opinion. But hey, That's just my opinion. So, Wargaming, you guys can let me know your personal feelings, thoughts, and opinions, and same for the people watching today's video. These are my honest takes, right? We can get into a battle here. I think that the current Reforged does look better. It's a little too vibrant. I think you guys should turn down the vibrancy a little bit. I'm not against Reforged, but it feels like a different game, and that is not something you want for a game that has been using 10 years of its player base, right? Imagine Grand Theft Auto Online just said, hey guys, we're going to completely change the game randomly for no reason against what our entire player base has been liking for the last 10 years. You are not going to gain enough new players in that time. Blitz is not a popular enough game, it's not mainstream enough, that you're going to get enough new players to counteract the loss of players that you are having from Reforged. But we'll see. We will see. I don't hate Commanders. I hate the fact that you're going to monetize them. I don't hate Reforged. I dislike the way that you've structured the UI. That's what I'll say. But Reforged is better, right? This gameplay, this is good. I have no problems with the gameplay now. I really don't. I do think some things I will say. The shell highlighting, the penetration highlighting needs to be better. It's not vibrant enough. Like, is that a pen? Is that a non-pen? I don't know. In the previous version of Blitz, it was a lot more easy to tell what was a pen and what wasn't. I don't like how you've made it. Like, look at the T30 upper plate. Like, is that a pen? Is that not? It's not enough knowledge. You need to make it a simple pen or non-pen. Just leave it the way like it currently is in Blitz. It makes a lot more sense. Like, as a player who understands values in this game, I know what's a pen and what's not. But if you take players that don't understand these values, it's a little confusing, and I don't necessarily agree with that. So that's what I'll say. But it's better, right? This is better. I'm running at 120 FPS right now. You can see my FPS counter. It's not a solid 160, but it's enough FPS that I feel confident it's getting to a better state, right? I don't hate it, but I really don't like the way you guys have structured the sets. I really don't. I think that as a newer player's perspective, it's really bad. I think that for players that have been playing this game for years, it's really confusing, and it shouldn't be. So, obviously I want everybody to let me know their feelings down below. But I'm not hating Reforged right now. It's definitely better than it was, which is good. It's definitely better than it was. So, good job there, at least, Wargaming. Keys need to go, though. They need to go. I'm sorry, but keys need to go. I know that you guys need to make money, but monetization on tech trees is a bad way to do it. You are basically saying, hey, all these things that were previously free, you now have to spend money on. There's no argument. You can say, oh, we want players to grind, but that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. If you want players to grind, then I don't even know what to tell you. I could come up with a lot of easier ways to do it than what you're doing here. That's what I'll say. But gameplay is fine. All you guys gotta do is make the UI better. That's all you gotta do. Gameplay is completely fine. I'm not having any problems with it whatsoever. I might die a little here. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna aim it on the Kampfpanzer. There you go, nice. I don't think that's a bot. Even though that player's name looks like a bot, I don't think that is actually a bot. I'm pretty confident that's a real player. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Yeah, this feels fine, though. Like, as much negativity as Reforged is getting, I don't have a problem with this. This looks good. There is ray tracing. Not much, but it does have some. Looks way better. So, good job from the Wargaming team on some of the things that you guys have put out. Rip. Big ol' rip. Either way, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Wargaming, if you're watching this video, consider talking to me. That's all you gotta do, right? I'm not here to hurt your game. I'm here to give honest opinions and feedback. And right now, that is something that you desperately need. Because if you continue telling yourselves that what you're doing is good, and you continue ignoring what the community thinks, you are going to hurt this game a lot. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.